Today I'll be ranking classic comedic American adult cartoons. This is obviously subjective, but the first one is going to be The Simpsons. The Simpsons is classic. It's beloved by almost everyone, and it paved the way for the genre of animated sitcoms. But I didn't find it very funny. Um, it was clever, and it is entertaining, and it is pretty funny, and because of its classic status, I'm gonna put it in B tier. So it's pretty good. It's above average. King of the Hill. King of the Hill is very unique, and it's also uniquely. It's a good show. It's a genuinely entertaining show, and it has a lot of deep messages. It has a lot of nuanced moral messages, and it's very distinctly American. It's like if I could use any of these shows to represent like America, basically, the American moral ethos, it would be King of the Hill. And it's not super funny, but it makes up for it by being genuinely entertaining. The stories are entertaining. King of the Hill is yeah, it's a great show. It's a classic show. I'm putting it in A tier. Um, the next one is American Dad. American Dad is, it's a slightly, I guess it's a Seth MacFarlane show, so it's not very intelligent. It's pretty cringe, but it does have that like classic Seth MacFarlane slapstick humor, but it doesn't have the iconic status that Family Guy has. Although it is very funny, so I'm gonna put it in C tier. Next one is Archer. Archer is basically just I don't know, like gross out humor, sort of. It's I think it tries too hard to be edgy, and the stories are not very compelling, and the jokes are not that funny. It's kind of annoying. It's also annoying how it tries to be edgy without actually being funny. Although it is still entertaining. It is an entertaining show. I'm gonna put it in C tier along with American Dad. All right, Big Mouth. Big Mouth is one of the most hated, comedic adult cartoons, and probably for a good reason. I've only seen a few episodes of this because my little sister was watching it. I basically like stood behind the couch and watched like a few episodes of it because my little sister was watching it in the living room, and I didn't laugh at a single joke. It's not funny. It's the animations are ugly, which it gets criticized a lot for that. I think a funny cartoon can have ugly animations and still be entertaining to watch, but Big Mouth is just not funny. The jokes are Family Guy is cringe, but Family Guy is cringe in like an unhinged way, and also it's funny in like a childish sort of like poop joke way. In whereas Big Mouth is not. It doesn't. There's no way that you can find any of the jokes fun. At least for me, I don't know. Maybe some people enjoy the show. I'm not going to spend too much time hating on it, but it goes in F tier. I don't think any of these shows are going to go in F tier. I think Big Mouth is the only one that will occupy this ranking. Okay, next is Family Guy. Family Guy is a Seth MacFarlane show. It's mostly like immature, childish humor, but it is also classic. It's an iconic part of American culture. A lot of people in my generation have nostalgic memories of Family Guy from their childhood. I remember watching this when I was in elementary school. I don't know if I was supposed to be watching it, but it is. I'm gonna do something controversial and put it in B tier next to The Simpsons. And by no means is Family Guy as good of a show as The Simpsons, but I do have nostalgic memories for Family Guy, whereas The Simpsons was a little bit before my time, and I don't feel the same kind of, I don't know, sort of it doesn't have the same sort of connection to to my childhood and my upbringing. This Family Guy will always be classic. I guess like The Simpsons, Family Guy is way more cringe and way more stupid than The Simpsons, but it's just as iconic. And maybe the cringe and the stupidity is what makes it iconic. Whereas The Simpsons is iconic because it was a pioneer of the genre. It was a trailblazer. It was one of the first of its kind. Um, the Cleveland Show. The Cleveland Show, like American Dad, is sort of a spin-off of Family Guy, which it's less funny than Family Guy, and it's not as entertaining as American Dad. And also, I'm pretty sure it got canceled pretty early on, so there aren't that many episodes of it. I might be mistaken. I also watched The Cleveland Show when I was very young, in elementary school. I do have fond memories of it, but it's just not that entertaining of a show, so it goes in D tier. I would like to... I don't know. Should I put it next to American Dad and Archer? Yeah, sure, I'll put it next to American Dad. Another Seth MacFarlane Family Guy spinoff. Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers is genuinely a nice show. It's a nice show. It has a good moral message. However, it's just not entertaining. I know fans of Bob's Burgers are going to be upset, but I'm going to have to put it in D tier. You know what? If Bob's Burgers goes in D tier, then Cleveland Show can accompany it here in D tier. We have Bob's Burgers and Cleveland Show side by side. Okay, BoJack Horseman is the next one. Now, BoJack Horseman, the people who will tell you that BoJack Horseman is such a great. I haven't ranked it yet. The people who I've heard, talk about BoJack Horseman as if it's some kind of great piece of cinema are usually, young, college age, girls who diagnose themselves with mental health conditions, and they're like, oh, I relate so much to the sad horse, and yeah, so I'm not a fan of BoJack Horseman fans, but I do think it was genuinely a good show. When I first watched BoJack Horseman, I was on antidepressants, actually, funnily enough. I don't take them anymore, but I was on antidepressants for a year, and it made me basically do nothing but just sit in a chair and watch stuff on YouTube and Netflix. And I was depressed, of course, and I was watching this show. I was watching a show about a talking horse to basically just pass the time, you know. And the first season of BoJack Horseman was just that. It was just a silly show about a talking horse. It wasn't that entertaining. It wasn't funny at all. It was just a bland, sitcom about a talking horse, and it was just something to pass the time. But as the seasons went on, it started getting progressively more, psychologically, psychologically intense. I don't know if that's a good descriptor of it. It's BoJack Horseman. Yeah, it does make a very compelling analysis of psychology and the effects of early trauma on the way that individuals develop and the way that individuals deal with life. And yeah. So BoJack Horseman, I'm gonna put in A tier along with King of the Hill. Okay, Xavier Renegade Angel. I've seen only a few episodes of this, and it's it's a very surreal, very sort of nonsensical, bizarre show. It doesn't have consistent storylines, but it is genuinely funny. It is genuinely funny and entertaining. It's like it's like a surreal, absurdist, like sort of psychedelic experience, while also being genuinely funny. So I'm putting it, I'm putting it also in A tier. Drawn Together. All right. Well, actually, we have another contender for F tier along with Big Mouth. Drawn Together. Maybe I also watched the show when I was very young, so maybe it does have some kind of interesting, compelling message or clever jokes that I just missed and that I didn't understand, at that age. But it seems like Drawn Together is sort of like Archer in that it tries too hard to be edgy. Basically, the humor is solely reliant on the edginess, and the jokes aren't really that funny. It's just classic. The characters that are modeled after classic American, children's cartoon characters, but basically doing like gross or perverse or sexual things, and the actual jokes aren't. I'm gonna put it along with Archer. I'm not gonna put it in. It's kind of I feel kind of bad for putting Bob's Burgers and Cleveland Show below Archer and Drawn Together, but these shows genuinely were not that entertaining. Futurama. Futurama is a genuinely entertaining show with genuinely good jokes, and it's not cringe. Like Family Guy. So, I also grew up watching this show, and I have a lot of childhood nostalgia for it, so I'm putting it in A tier along with BoJack Horseman and King of the Hill and Xavier Renegade Angel. Alright, the Boondocks. The Boondocks... Yeah, the Boondocks is going in S tier. Boondocks is at the top. I watched the show when I was around probably 12 years old or something, and I was living in Philadelphia. The Boondocks it's a very edgy show. It's very, racially aggressive. They use the N-word a lot. There's a lot of offensive racial humor. But it's a show which I think it's the only show that serves as genuinely intelligent and compelling social commentary. BoJack Horseman is also quite intelligent, and King of the Hill has some interesting nuanced analysis on morality and moral decisions and interpersonal relationships. But the Boondocks is actually a compelling and intelligent and nuanced critique of basically America, of not just the way that that America sort of subtly suppresses black people, but how America and the U.S. government and the powers that be in the United States sort of suppress and gaslight everyone, all U.S. citizens. But it's from the perspective of the black community, and particularly Huey Freeman, who is like a young revolutionary. There's too much to say about the Boondocks. I don't think I'll be able to say everything. Basically, Huey is he's a woke kid, but he's woke, in the sense of before the word got appropriated by white liberals to basically mean a crybaby. But he's woke in the sense that he's aware of the way that the elites, the institutions, and the U.S. government manipulate the people for their own means and sort of brainwash the American public. And all the characters in the Boondocks, the black characters, represent stereotypes or archetypes of different types of people in the black community. So Granddad is a older black man who is concerned with his own personal well-being and his own memories of the past, and he sees the corruption in the United States. He sees all the issues, but he would rather just look the other way, because he's learned to not really care about anyone but himself. and I guess his immediate family. Uncle Ruckus. Uncle Ruckus is a representation of white racism, but he's also a representation of self-hatred, which exists in all minority groups. Myself included. I'm not like I'm not black, of course, but the type of the type of uh, I don't know the type of sort of a critique of uh, your own people is something that I felt before. Sort of being ashamed of your own group, which is not a it's not a good thing, but it exists in almost every group. There are individuals who uh, not quite like as aggressively racist as Uncle Ruckus, but every group has its individuals who are a little bit self-hating, a little bit ashamed of their own ethnicity, their own religious group, their own culture, and yeah, and then there's Riley, who is the brother of Huey, who is basically a portrayal of the ignorant youth in the black community. He's mostly concerned with getting money, hustling, looking cool, basically. Listens to rap music. He watches BET, um, and yeah, yeah. There's other examples. Oh, there's Ed Wunsler. Ed Wunsler. Who is like basically a rich white guy who represents like corporate greed in America. He, whenever he's present in an episode, he has some kind of scheme to manipulate the people and basically do overtly evil things, but do it like behind everyone's back, or manipulate people in a way that they can't do anything to stop him. And then there's Ed Wunsler the third, who is the grandson of this corporate guy, and he's basically a sort of a school shooter type character. He's a white guy who he was in the army, and he has a lot of guns, and he acts black. I think he's voiced by a black voice actor, and he has the stereotypical black American dialect, but he's a white guy, and yeah, and he's irrationally violent all the time, and he has like a stockpile of weapons, and yeah, the Boondocks. Yeah, the Boondocks is if you can look past uh, the the like offensive humor, the racial humor, just the thing is that the Boondocks has a lot of extremely offensive humor, but the offensive jokes are so clever and so genuinely funny that even the most like politically correct liberal will be forced to laugh at them because they're just so funny. The jokes are so clever and well constructed that you'll be laughing like every episode throughout the entire episode. You're just laughing, but that kind of allows the actual social commentary, the critique of American society to sort of slip by. Like while you're laughing at the edgy jokes, you're also being exposed to this real, a real fair, honest critique of America. And yeah, the Boondocks, like people view the Boondocks as an extremely funny show. It's labeled as a comedy, but it's also a very tragic show. It's if you look past all the jokes, it's an extremely depressing, extremely bleak, extremely tragic story. Basically, um, it shows like the futility of resistance, and how deep the corruption in American politics, American business, and American society really goes, and how people genuinely suffer, and how people are so ignorant that they don't even see why they're suffering. Uh, even the most hateable character, the most vile character, Uncle Ruckus, like the most violently racist character, who's basically the antagonist to all the other characters in the show. It's a black show. Uncle Ruckus hates black people. So Uncle Ruckus is clearly, a villain in the show. But Uncle Ruckus, there's an episode dedicated to him called The Color Ruckus, which shows the, tragic backstory, the horrendous upbringing that Uncle Ruckus had, and you can kind of sympathize with why he became the person that he is. A lot of people in America, black and white, have really tragic life situations that are beyond their control, that turn them into the types of destructive or ignorant people that they are. And it basically shows the futility of the futility of our situation. And Huey, the main character, is fully aware of everything. While all the other characters are ignorant, all the other characters, don't believe Huey. His own black community doesn't acknowledge him or pay attention to any of the things he says or any of the warnings that he gives. And he's the only one who cares, and he's forced to see the people around him suffer. While they ignore his warnings. That's enough said about the Boondocks. The Boondocks is as edgy and offensive and hilarious as it is genuinely an intelligent show. Maybe even more intelligent, more more. I might even say more psychologically deep than BoJack Horseman, right? I guess, okay, BoJack Horseman might, in terms of psychological analysis of human relations, and the reason that people become the way that they are, human psychology. I guess BoJack Horseman is maybe equal to the Boondocks, but the Boondocks is probably one of the best social commentaries and political commentaries in the adult entertainment world, even better than South Park, I would say. Like, the messages in the Boondocks are I think, deeper and more profound than even the ones in South Park. And people say South Park is a clever show. All right. Oh, and the next one on the list is South Park. I'm putting South Park. South Park goes in S tier along with the Boondocks. So we've got two. I think these are going to be the only two in S tier. South Park it also has a lot of clever social commentary. It's a little bit more absurdist and a little bit more the social commentary and the political commentary in South Park is definitely not as consistent as the Boondocks. The Boondocks has one clear message. The South Park has a bunch of scattered messages. Some of them are, true. Some of them are somewhat true. Some of them are just meant to basically troll the audience, to get the audience thinking about something, and in a sort of in a nuanced way, but doesn't really have a message. A lot of South Park episodes really don't have a profound message, but they get the audience to think about something that they otherwise wouldn't have thought about. And also, South Park gets into S tier because it is an extremely classic show. There's nothing else like it. There will never be anything else like it. It is. I don't think in the history of adult animation, there will never be a show like South Park again. And also, South Park has stood the test of time. I think it's 30 years old almost. I think it started in the 1990s, and it's still running now, and it's still just as popular as ever. South Park has been popular, and it's been seen as novel and new and groundbreaking by two different generations of it's by both millennials and Gen Z. And I guess Gen Alpha. My little sister likes South Park. and I think she's still Gen Z, but not Gen Alpha. But uh, yeah, like South Park is still going strong, and it's still relevant. So yeah, South Park goes in S tier along with the Boondocks, and and then last we have Rick and Morty. All right, um, people complain about Rick and Morty fans. Uh, Maybe some Rick and Morty fans that, like, in the beginning when the show first came out, may have been a little bit obnoxious. Although I think Rick and Morty now has a more chill reputation. It's a show that's just enjoyed by regular people, and the jokes in Rick and Morty are not very clever. Some of them are kind of stupid, but it's not as cringe as Family Guy, and it is genuinely entertaining. I don't want to put it at the same level as BoJack Horseman or Futurama uh, or King of the Hill, but it is a genuinely entertaining show. And the world building in Rick and Morty, Rick and Morty has, I think, one of the best world building of any comedic adult cartoon. Yeah, better than Futurama, I think, in terms of world building, not in terms of humor. Yeah, the also, Rick and Morty has very good storylines, very compelling plot, episode by episode. The plot doesn't carry over well between episodes, but within an episode, the story structure is very compelling, uh, and it's because the I forget his name. The guy who wrote Rick and Morty. He also made the guy who created Rick and Morty. I think also created Community, which is which is a very good TV show, a very funny TV show, and yeah, it uses a yeah, it uses a similar storyline format, episode by episode, as this as Community, the TV show. Uh, I don't know. Should I put it along with Family Guy and The Simpsons, or should I put it with King of the Hill and BoJack Horseman? I don't know. If I rank Rick and Morty too high, people are gonna get mad. They're gonna get people are definitely gonna get mad that I put, like, I don't know. They put Bob's Burgers below, uh, Drawn Together and Family Guy. If I put Rick and Morty above The Simpsons, people are definitely going to have a problem with that, and I understand why. But nah, I'm gonna put it here. I'm not putting it higher. Yeah, Rick and Morty gets the same, the same has the same place in my heart, the same place in my soul as Family Guy or The Simpsons. And I'm sorry, just like classic Simpsons fans. Simpsons is it's an iconic show. There will never be anything like it. It paved the way for adult animation, but it's just not that special to me. Um, but if I was born like a decade earlier, I would probably rank The Simpsons like up near the top. Might even be an S tier. If I was born, in like the 1990s instead of the 2000s, I would definitely have like more fond associations with The Simpsons. But yeah, for me, The Simpsons goes in B tier, which is still higher than average. Higher than average. So the ones that are a little bit below average would be Bob's Burgers, just not very entertaining. The Cleveland Show, a less entertaining version of American Dad, which is a less entertaining spin-off of Family Guy. And then at the bottom, we've got Big Mouth. Um, yeah. Tell me if you agree or you disagree. This is subjective, so, you know, don't hate me too much. Leave your comments. How would you rank these shows? What show what show is your favorite and which one is your least favorite? And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. I'm definitely going to come out with more videos like this in the future. So see ya.